Welcome back to Read Between Lines. Great to have you back on another episode where we break down sports 4 different ways on our 4 Down segment. As always, we invite you to join us on our social networks at facebook.com/RBTL Sports, as well as on Twitter at RBTL Sports. We welcome this man right here. You've earned yourself the title of the best dressed guest we have ever had. That's Chris Curtis from the Montreal Gazette. Great to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
To your right is Pierre Juste, RBTL contributor as always. Good to see you.
Glad to be here.
And to my left is stand-up comedian Derek Seguin. We've seen you all over the place, and I have to warn you, this is a PG show. So we got to keep you in line. All right, you ready to go?
I got it.
All right, let's do this. Talk about Nathan Beaulieu, the hit from Clarkson on Gonchar. There was a little bit of retaliation. Good for Nathan Beaulieu to stand up for his teammates. It's a great indicator. You need that in the playoffs. But I wanted to ask you guys more along the lines of the enforcer. In the NHL, you look at the Western Conference and how they get along with very little enforcement, some would say. Is there still a place for the enforcers in today's league?
Well, Toronto certainly seems to think so. You look at a guy like Clarkson, he sort of reminds me of, I used to have this friend, he played hockey until he started hanging around with some of my other friends, and then he started doing drugs. And he would show up to the ice, a little bit messed up, didn't particularly feel like playing, he'd fight 2 guys and get kicked out. That's what it looked like for Clarkson. He just looked like he didn't want to be there. He looked like, I want to fight 2 guys. I'm going to get the hell out of here. This team sucks.
And Gonchar came out recently and said that, right? That one of the biggest issues of the Maple Leafs was the fact that they were lacking that physical presence.
I thought you were going to say Gonchar came out. I thought he was.
No. I didn't say that.
Those suits were.
But I will say,
a lot of closeted feelings.
we won't go there. But I will say that I think in terms of the presence, it's so important. There are some teams that need that identity. And Press actually came out recently and said that if you don't have that enforcement, if you don't have that guy in the locker room, you open up the potential that guys will take a run at the goaltenders.
Yeah, but there's a balance between physical play and an enforcer. An enforcer doesn't really bring you anything else to the table other than doing some goon stuff. So
also, Brendan Press can play hockey.
Yeah, he's a hockey
What's
player.
What's Clarkson paid? 5.25?
Too much.
Too
That's
much?
Crazy.
5.25, and they expect him to get 19 goals, 20 goals a season on top of it.
You got to try to be realistic. In terms of Clarkson, the guy was only asked for 2.5 minutes and had 27 minutes of penalty minutes. So you're wondering, what was his role? What is his role? Do we need somebody like that in Montreal? Do we need that kind of players in the NHL? I don't think it's
look at the impact that a marginal player could have had on the game. He takes out Gonchar.
Yeah.
And then Beaulieu and him start going at it. And the way Beaulieu fights, which is just throwing fists, by the way, he will fight you on a golf course if he needs to. He's just throwing leather, and he's opening himself up to these counter punches. So if he gets one on the chin, then some marginal player just took out 2 of your best defensemen.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's, if you need a statement on the non-necessity for just pure tough guys in the game, there it is.
Would you rather have a team full of toughness where the guys will go to war for one another, but you'll risk that injury he was talking about? Or would you rather have a lineup where you've got 2 or 3 guys who will keep you in check and say, hey, you know what? They call them rats. That's what Brandon Press used. It was the word rat. They say these guys are rats. They'll take a shot at our goaltender. You saw what happened with Carey Price last year and how much that could change the potential of winning a Stanley Cup. Would you rather a team of toughness or 3 guys that can really lay it down and drop it?
It depends what your team needs. You definitely have to look out for your players, though. When somebody take a run, it should be the closest guy. It doesn't need to be a Press or a Beaulieu. Like a Gallagher would go after that guy. That's what I love about that guy. So you just can't let them get away with it. I personally like to have a goon on the team. It's just.
But you want him to be able to produce.
That would be good. That would be great.
Because that's morphed.
That's,
the role of the enforcement
important.
is also morphed. It used to be the 3 or 4 guys would be able to get into a fight every night, and now it's sort of like we want you to fight, but we also need you to put up goals because every minute of your ice time is calculated, right?
Absolutely, and the game is at a new level. So I think the days of Ty Domi and I don't want to mention Chris Donald because I love that guy.
That's the balance that you're looking for. You don't want guys that are one-dimensional, that only do one thing. In this new NHL, where guys are faster, stronger, that are more cerebral, you want guys that are able to participate a little bit more than just fighting.
Well, we got these 2 guys participating, including yourself. Great to see you guys. Stay with us after the break. We're changing gears as we're talking some MMA and PEDs. You don't want to go anywhere. It's happening right here, right now on Read Between the Lines.
Read Between the Lines is brought to you by EliteSportsTours.ca. What are you doing this weekend?